Your first candle. You are not you. At least, not anymore. You wake up in someone else's bed. It smells like wax, sweat, and old wool. When you breathe deeper, vinegar. That's not a metaphor. Someone actually vomited on the stairs last night. There's one candle burning. That's all. The room holds nothing extra. A bed, a bowl of murky water, and a chair that creaks even when no one's sitting on it. Your hair is gone. Just gone. No one explained why. They just said, it's cleaner this way. Also, a lady must show a clean neck. And clients don't like lice. You used to love your hair, but that was yesterday. Today, you've already forgotten what it felt like. They say your name is Rouge now, whether you like it or not. You try to remember your real name, but it's somewhere beyond the door, in a field, by a river, with your grandmother, who made lavender and onion soup, and who will never know that her granddaughter is now quiet, convenient, and not quite broken. Next to the bed, boots, not yours, and a coin on the table, left by someone who disappeared before you opened your eyes. You don't remember how you got here, but you do know what your body is worth. The price changes daily. Today, less because you're silent. Yesterday, more because you smiled. They taught you to smile, not with your lips, with your eyes. Because a lip smile costs something, but an eye smile is free, even when you're screaming inside. The door creaks. Someone enters. Not your client, not yet. Just Madame. She doesn't knock, she checks. Clean? She asks. You nod. No coughing? You nod again. Good. Tonight it's a soldier, an older one. Smells like sweat and dried meat. Smile. He likes happy girls. She vanishes. The candle stays. You stare at it like it's the only living thing in the room. And you name it Jeanette, just so someone here has a name. The night is ahead. Another roll. Another imprint on the sheets that will last longer than it does on you. You find a shard of glass behind the curtain. It's not really a mirror, but it works well enough when you don't want the truth. You hold it up. There she is, the girl they call Rouge, the one with someone else's rouge on her cheeks and a bruise hidden where no one will ask questions. She looks older today, or is it just the light? You adjust the angle. No, that wrinkle is real. That shadow under the eye. That twitch in the lip when you're not pretending to be sweet. They tell you beauty is your weapon, but tonight your weapon feels dull. You lean closer to the glass. Maybe if you look hard enough, you'll see the girl you were before the perfume, before the vinegar baths, before your body became currency. There's a knock. Too soft to be Madame, too soft to be a man. You open the door. A girl, no older than 13, stands holding linens. She doesn't speak, just leaves the sheets and looks at you like she's seeing a ghost she might one day become. You want to say something kind, something motherly, but your throat, it closes. The only word you manage is merci. She leaves. You lock the door, one of the few powers you still have. You press your back to it and slide down to the floor. This room is quiet now, except for the candle's little hiss. It's still Jeanette, still burning, still pretending this night is like any other. You want to cry, but you don't. That too has a cost. Tears smear makeup. Tears raise suspicion. Tears lead to questions, and questions are dangerous in this house. You lie down again, this time on clean sheets, not because you're clean, but because the next man will want the illusion of newness. You stare at the ceiling. And imagine a world where women grow old with stories, not scars, where girls hold books, not linens, where names are not assigned like costumes. But this is France, 1351, and your name is Rouge, for now. He arrives before sunset. Unusual, they usually come drunk and late. This one is sober. His boots are polished, his hat is clean, and his silence feels heavier than a shout. You expect the usual routine: a glance, a nod, a coin tossed on the table, a body on the bed. But instead, he stands at the door, hat still in hand, as if he's waiting for permission, as if you could give it. "May I?" he says. The words sound foreign here. No one asks anything. You nod, cautious. He doesn't touch you. Not your arm, not your waist, not even the air around you. He sits on the edge of the bed like it's a church pew. Then, almost whispering, "Don't undress." The room feels like it holds its breath. "Talk to me," he says. And just like that, you forget every line you've ever rehearsed. The flirting, the laugh, the "oui, monsieur." Instead, you talk. About the soup you miss, the one with onions and stale wine. About the way the wood above creaks when it rains. About the crack in the ceiling shaped like a bird. About how the wax drips onto your arm when you forget to move the candle. He listens, really listens, like your voice isn't something bought but borrowed. When he finally speaks, it isn't what you expect. Do you ever dream of leaving? You look at him. He's not handsome. He's not young. But his eyes, they look like someone who's already escaped a life or two. You want to say yes, but dreams are dangerous here. So instead, you shrug, as if to say, dreams cost more than anyone wants to pay. His shoulders shake. Once, a silent quake. You realize he's crying, but only into his hands, as if ashamed of it. When he leaves, he places 2 coins on the table, enough for a week of candles. And for a moment, the room feels lighter, almost human. You sit on the chair where he sat. It's still warm. And for the first time in weeks, the silence doesn't cut. There's a shelf in the corner. You've memorized every bottle on it. One for the nights when your body smells like someone else's breath. One for when blood doesn't stop soon enough. One for fevers that come and go like unpaid guests. One for hiding the rot. Madam calls it the apothecary of illusion. You just call it the shelf of survival. You unscrew a tiny vial. Inside, rose water, vinegar, and a prayer. You dab it on your wrists, your throat, between your legs. It burns. That's how you know it's working. They like the smell of roses. They don't want to know what you've been through. They want to believe they are the first, or at least the only one who matters tonight. You light a candle. Its flame flutters like a girl's heartbeat before her first time, though you stopped counting firsts long ago. The room is ready. You are not. But readiness isn't part of the price. A voice from the hallway. Rouge, the merchant. You know him. He sweats before he even touches you, breathes like he's already ashamed. You put on your smile, the one that doesn't reach your eyes. He enters, hands trembling, eyes darting like a boy stealing fruit. You undress without ceremony. He doesn't watch. He stares at the candle instead, like it's more naked than you are. When it's over, he leaves a single coin, but also a fig, soft, bruised, wrapped in linen. You stare at it. You haven't tasted a fig since childhood. You eat it slowly. The sweetness is almost too much, almost holy. and for a moment the vinegar disappears, and you are just a woman sitting in the light of a candle, tasting something that didn't ask anything from you in return. He isn't dressed like the others. No lace, no fur, no perfume. Just wool. Coarse, gray, and damp at the edges, as if holiness leaks. He says his name is Father Benoit, but you already knew that. He's famous. Preaches fire in the square, mercy in confession, and silence in places like this. You don't know why he came. At first, you think he's here for the same reason all men come. Then he pulls a stool to the side of the bed and sits, not touching the linens. He takes off his hat, reveals a head shaved too late to be young, too clean to be free. "I'm not here for that," he says, but his eyes say otherwise. He looks around your room, at the candle, at the shelf, at your knees, bruised and tucked under a robe that was once white. "I came," he begins, "because the bishop told me someone here asked about sin." You raise an eyebrow. Clever. That's how they make it sound like you summoned them. You don't remember asking, but then again, every moan you fake might be a prayer. "What is it you want to know?" he asks. You think for a moment, then say, "Does God count the times I said yes when I couldn't say no?" He doesn't answer. You wait. He stares at the candle, the same way the merchant did. You begin to think all men see salvation in wax, never in women. Finally, he says, "God sees intention." You laugh, not because it's funny, but because it sounds like something a man would say after he's already left the coin on the table. "Do you see me?" you ask. He doesn't answer that either. But before he leaves, he places a loaf of bread on the table, and, folded inside the cloth, a single psalm, written by hand. You read it after he's gone. It says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." You fold it again, tuck it beneath your mattress, along with the fig seed, and the name you no longer use. She's new. You can tell by the way she flinches when men pass too close, by how she clutches the scarf around her neck like it's armor, though it's just linen, cheap and thin. They call her blue because of her eyes, but you think it's because she still believes the sky matters. Madame says she's from the north, some town swallowed by war or winter. Same thing, really. You watch her from the doorway, the way she practices her smile in the mirror, how she lines her lips with crushed berries as if it makes her mouth more believable. She asks you questions. Does it get easier? Do they always smell like soup? What if I forget to pretend? You give her answers that aren't true, but they sound kind, and that's close enough. That night, you hear her crying through the wall. Not loud, not broken, just the sound of something soft being wrung out slowly. You want to knock, but you don't, because you remember your first night, how someone did knock, and you didn't answer, and they never asked again. The next morning, you leave something outside her door. A jar of balm for bruises, a crust of bread, and the smallest bottle of rose vinegar. She doesn't say thank you, but the scarf disappears. And the next time a man walks by, she doesn't flinch. That night, she comes to your room. She doesn't knock. She just stands there, holding the scarf in both hands. "Do you want it?" she asks. You shake your head, then pull her in. You light a second candle, and the two of you sit, silent, watching shadows flicker across the ceiling. The scarf rests between you, folded, like peace, or the idea of it. There's a window in your room. Small, crooked, stuck shut since autumn. You tried to force it once, long ago, when the air smelled like ripe pears and burnt feathers, but it wouldn't budge. The wood is swollen, or maybe it's just tired. Still, you sit by it every morning, as if the light through warped glass is purer, as if the world outside might one day seep in. You imagine the street below, the fishmonger's daughter with her red hands, the boy who sells buttons from a velvet pouch, the drunk who kisses trees and calls them his dead wife. You've seen them only once, in a dream, or maybe through someone else's memory. Because this room, this place of candle wax and vinegar, has become the only geography your body knows. Sometimes you write letters to people you've never met. To the seamstress in Lyon who sings to her thread, I hope you never need to sing louder. To the baker with only one arm, the bread was perfect. To my mother, I remember your perfume, but not your face. You never send them. There's nowhere to send them. But the writing feels like proof that you were here, that someone lived behind the walls. The window sighs when it rains. You pretend it's whispering back. Today, you light no candle. You just sit. And for the first time in weeks, you hear something outside. A bell. Soft, slow, distant. A funeral? A wedding? A cow? You laugh, because maybe it doesn't matter. What matters is that the sound did not come from within these walls. And that means the world, the real, wet, loud, ridiculous world, still exists, even if the window never opens. He doesn't remove his gloves, not to knock, not to count the coins, not even to touch your skin. The leather is soft, expensive. You know the type. Men who wear fox fur but never see foxes. Men who hire others to bleed for them. He doesn't speak much, but when he does, his voice feels boiled. Not hot, not sharp, just overcooked. He doesn't want what most want. He makes that clear. I don't need your body, he says. I need your memory. You pause. He places a pouch on the table, too heavy for silver, gold, or secrets. You'll come tomorrow, he says. Dress plainly, speak rarely. That night, you don't sleep. You sharpen your quiet, like a knife. The next evening, you follow his carriage on foot. He walks 10 paces ahead, as if you're not his companion, but his echo. The building is old, not beautiful, the kind of stone that remembers screams. Inside, a single room, lit by oil, not candle, smells like ink, dust, and something older, a secret burned too slowly. You're told to sit, not speak, just listen. He asks you to witness, not pleasure, but confession. One by one, other men enter, a judge, a priest, a merchant with blood on his boots. Each speaks, each spills, not to you, to the man in gloves, but you are the only one who hears everything. They talk of land stolen, girls taken, documents rewritten, wives disappeared. You say nothing, but inside, your stomach folds in on itself. When it ends, he walks you back. Halfway through the alley, he says, "You'll forget everything, yes?" You nod, but you both know, some things don't fade. Some things stitch themselves into your blood, your breath, the curl of your smile. Back in your room, you sit by the stuck window. Outside, the city sleeps, but beneath your skin, the walls are talking. You feel it before you see her. The air folds inward, like a breath held too long. like silence bending under its own weight. She doesn't knock. She doesn't need to. The door opens on its own, as if the room knew she was coming. She's dressed simply, but not plainly. Everything she wears looks like it chose her, not the other way around. You recognize nothing, except the blade tucked into her boot. Not because you've seen it before, but because you've imagined it 1,000 times in 1,000 endings. She closes the door behind her, doesn't speak, just looks. At your hands, your throat, the bed. You ask softly, "Do you want to sit?" She doesn't. She steps forward, 2 paces, 3. Then she says, "He came here, didn't he?" You don't ask who. There are too many men in the world and too few women who carry knives. Instead, you say, "Yes." That's enough. She unwraps something from her scarf, a ring, slick with something dark and dried. She sets it on the table, not for you, but for the room. "Did he pay for silence?" she asks. You don't answer, because silence was never yours to sell. She nods, not at you, at herself. Then she sits, not on the bed, not at the table, but on the floor, cross-legged, like a child waiting for a story. And so you give her one. You tell her how he walked, what he smelled like, how he didn't touch anything except the doorknob on his way out. She listens without blinking. When you're done, she pulls the knife from her boot, not to threaten, to clean it, slowly, with care. Then she places it beside the ring, stands, and says, "Thank you." Not with relief, not with gratitude, but with the weight of someone who now knows where to go. You don't ask where. She leaves, without looking back. The door clicks shut, but the silence she leaves behind, it's heavier than any sound you've ever known. That night, you don't light a candle. You sit with the blade and the ring. Proof that there are still things sharper than what men pay for. It starts with a smell. Not perfume, not sweat, not blood. Smoke. Faint, sweet, wrong. You pause mid-step in the hallway. Rouge's house never smells like that. Too careful, too practiced. But this is new. You move toward the source. Room 13, the one with the creaky door and the girl who hums when she sews. Except tonight, there's no humming. Only heat, thick in the air like a secret cooking too long. You knock once, twice, nothing. You open the door. She's not there. No girl, no bag, no shoes. Just the faint imprint of someone who used to sit on the bed with her knees pulled to her chest and dreams in her eyes. The candle's still lit, but the wax has barely melted. She didn't leave hours ago. She vanished. You call Rouge. She arrives silently, like she always does when things feel wrong. Not dramatic, just aware. She looks around, doesn't speak. Her eyes land on the window, closed, locked, untouched. Then to the table, a single note, folded once. You reach for it. She stops you. "This is for me," she says. You step back. She opens the note, reads in one glance, then burns it with the candle's flame. The smoke curls up, same strange scent, like dried roses and dead things. She's not in danger, Rouge says, but she's not coming back. You want to ask more. Where? Why? What happened? But Rouge is already turning. "Clean the room," she says. "No guests for the rest of the week." And just like that, the hallway feels colder. That night, you sleep restlessly, because dreams come in the shape of missing girls and smoke that doesn't belong. The next morning, the imprint on the bed is gone. The wax has hardened, and no one ever hums from room 13 again. She arrives just after closing, old, but not weak, dressed in black like the kind of widow who buries men without crying. She carries a wooden box, not large, but heavy. She doesn't knock. Rouge lets her in. No words, just a nod between them, as if they'd once bled together in the same war and neither forgave the other for surviving. Rouge tells you, take her upstairs, the gray room, and don't ask questions. You obey, because when Rouge says it like that, the only safe answer is silence. In the gray room, the woman opens the box. Inside, spools. Thin reels of something like wire, but not metal, and not quite memory either. She gestures for you to sit, then presses a button on the side. The box hums, and then a voice. Crackling, old, French, male. I see you, Colette, the voice says. You were beautiful that night. You turn to the woman. Her name is Colette, apparently. But she raises one hand. Wait. Another spool. Another voice. You said you'd stay. You lied. A third. You still wear the pin I gave you. You still taste like July. The room is cold, but your spine sweats. Each reel, a man, a voice, a confession. Some angry, some tender, some whispering things you wish you could forget but never even knew. Colette listens, eyes closed, not crying, just absorbing. At the 7th reel, she opens her eyes, looks straight at you. Do you know what this is? She asks. You shake your head. She smiles, the kind of smile that knows things. This is proof of what women survive while pretending they don't remember. She stands, closes the box, hands you a reel, one you haven't heard yet. Rouge appears in the doorway, takes the box, nods again. Colette walks out, without needing help. You're left with the reel, and no player. But you swear, if you hold it close enough, you can almost hear someone begging for forgiveness with the wrong woman's name in his mouth. That night, you dream of voices with no bodies, and a woman named Colette who remembers every syllable men thought she'd forget. He enters during a thunderstorm. No coat, no shoes, only scars. Rouge opens the door herself. She does not flinch. She sees the thread, the stitches, tight across his mouth like a zipper made of sin. She nods once, as if she expected him. You do flinch. You're not made of Rouge's stuff, not yet. Take him to the cellar, she says. You hesitate. The far room, and don't speak. You lead him down. He walks like he's memorized pain, like every step is a confession. You unlock the final door. He enters. You close it. No thanks, no sound, just silence that presses against your ears until even your heartbeat feels impolite. Later that night, Rouge joins you in the kitchen. She pours you tea, honey, not sugar. You wait, because she always speaks eventually. He hasn't spoken in 20 years, she says. He took a vow. You nod. Not of peace, she adds, but of punishment. You blank. She stirs her tea, slow, deliberate. He belonged to a very old order, one that believed if you told a lie, you had to silence yourself with the truth. You want to ask how many lies he told, but then she looks up. Too many, she says, as if she read your thoughts, as if your curiosity was loud. In the morning, You find a note on your pillow. Small, folded, no name. You open it. Inside, a thread. Black, frayed, still sticky. And a sentence written in trembling ink. What I didn't say hurt more than what I did. You check the cellar. The door's locked from inside. You knock. Nothing. You listen. Still nothing. You walk away. But the silence follows you up the stairs, into the hallway, into your ears, into your dreams. That night, you hear no thunder, no footsteps, only thread pulling tight in your sleep. It was a quiet Tuesday. No thunder, no widow, no blood on the staircase. Just a reservation in the name of M. Initial only. Paid in advance. One night, no breakfast. You prepare the green room. Fresh sheets, a flower in a chipped vase. They never arrive. But something else does. At 2:13 a.m., you hear the bell. That old brass bell Rouge never lets anyone use. You go to the front desk. No guest. No footprints. Just a large, ornate mirror, standing upright, impossibly heavy, but with no one carrying it. There's a tag on it. Room paid, please do not cover. You look into it. You expect to see yourself, and you do. Mostly. Except your hands are folded, but you're not folding them. And the eyes blink half a second too soon. You step back. Rouge is suddenly behind you. Room 6, she says. You carry it together. It should be heavy, but it floats almost. In room 6, you place it against the far wall. You leave. You don't look back. That night, no one sleeps well. You hear steps upstairs, but room 6 is locked. You hear whispers, but no guests are checked in. You peek into the keyhole. Nothing. Just your own eye looking back. But it blinks, and you didn't. By morning, the mirror is gone. No damage, no receipt. Just a flower on the pillow, still fresh, but upside down. Roots out, petals pressed into the linen like a mouth print. Rouge finds you staring at it. She lights a cigarette. They come, she says. They leave things, she says. You nod. But sometimes, she adds, they take a little something too. That night, you avoid mirrors, even spoons, even windows. But something still reflects you when you close your eyes. And this time, it smiles first. You didn't know there was a chapel. No one ever said. There was no staircase, no map, no key. But at 3:03 a.m., you feel it. A breeze, low to the ground, smelling of incense and mothballs. You follow it to the laundry room, push aside a basket of sheets, and there it is. A small wooden hatch, open, waiting. You descend the ladder. It creaks like bones. The air is thick, like breath that's been held too long. At the bottom, stone, old, wet, holy, but wrong. Candles light themselves as you walk. Each flame pops like a whisper. Each pew groans as if rising to greet you. The altar is bare, but you feel eyes on your back. Not one pair, not human. You turn. There's no one. Only carvings in the wall, worn smooth by fingers that shouldn't have touched them. Rouge appears behind you. She walks without sound. She lights no candle. They bow to her already. This place remembers, she says. You nod, but your voice doesn't come. She kneels. Her dress doesn't wrinkle. Her shadow doesn't follow her. You ask what this chapel is for. She looks at you, and for once, there is fear in her eyes. "Promise me," she whispers, "you won't sing here, no matter what you hear." Then she leaves, and the ladder disappears. You spend the night in the chapel. The pews creak. The candles flicker. At some point, a hymn begins, low, distant, in a language no one should know. You cover your ears. You hum over it. The walls hum back. By dawn, you are released. The hatch is open again. The ladder returns. You climb, fast. You never speak of it. Rouge never asks. But the next night, she puts a scrap of sheet in your hand. White, torn, smeared with ash. A note written in faint red. "Do not let the others sleep above that room. Not again." You nod. And the next day, room 12 is closed forever. The bell never rings, but you feel it anyway. In your bones, in your teeth, in the part of you that dreams even when you're awake. The rooms are all empty, but the house feels full. You light the hallway candles. They blow themselves out. You knock on Rouge's door. No answer. You try the knob. It opens. You expect velvet, perfume, silk. But the room is bare. No bed, no mirror, no Rouge. Only a single envelope on the floor. Your name, in handwriting that looks older than ink. You open it. Inside, only this. There are no guests tonight, only you and what you remember. And then, you hear the footsteps, but they're yours. Above you, below you, around you. You chase them. You pass room 3, where the window never closes. You pass room 6, where the mirror once blinked. You pass the cellar. It hums, but no door opens. You run to the laundry, to the chapel, to the kitchen. No Rouge, only yourself, and the echo of everything you saw but didn't understand. Then, in the lobby, a single chair turned backward, facing the corner. You approach. You circle slowly. She's there. Rouge, hair let down, dress gone, feet bare. Her back to you, spine too straight, still as wax. You whisper her name. She speaks. "I was never Rouge." You sit, because there's nothing else to do. "I kept the rooms. I kept the stories, but not for them. For you." You ask why. She turns to you. But there is no face. Just every face you've seen in this place. Layered, flickering, remembering. Because you looked and you listened. Most guests forget, but you stayed. Now, so must I go. The candles flicker once more. She dissolves, not into dust, but into time. The house sighs. The floorboards exhale. You are alone. For now. But you turn to the front desk, and the book is open. Tonight's date? Blank. The pen waiting. Your hand moves. You sign. Not your name. Not anymore. But the name she left you. Keeper. And the bell finally rings.